My name is Monty Putau. I've been blacksmithing now for almost 26 years. I've been blacksmithing here at Prairie Days for close to 2 decades, with a little bit off and on. Today I'm going to be doing a demonstration on blacksmithing. I've already done some tapering, and as you just noticed, I just did a little curl in the end of it. My goal today is to make a J-hook for a tent pole, and so it will slide up over the tent pole and then have a place to hang a hat or a coat or a jacket or whatever I need. Everything that I'm working with is period except for my forge. My forge is actually from approximately 1920s era. It's just so much easier for portability. At the time of George Washington Carver, blacksmiths would have just been using bellows. Maybe getting up into the lever crank forges. This is coal, not charcoal, but charcoal is also an available source of fuel. I've known people to even just use wood. So right now I'm just doing a little heating up. We'll get this cranking, do a little bit more hammering than talking. I just want to tighten this curl up a little bit. It's a little bigger than what I wanted. There we go. One thing a lot of people ask is, how hot does this get? It will actually get around 2,000 degrees right there in the center of the forge, which is pretty amazing because, you know, it's 2,000 degrees there, but you can have your hand right up beside it. In the proper facilities, coal will actually get up over 3,000 degrees. When I bring it out, I'm going to bring it out probably around 1,500 to 1,800. I go more by color than I do anything. I like an orange, a nice bright orange. Yellow's starting to get probably too close to melting temperature. Now you'll notice the first thing I did when I did that is I brought it out and I quenched the end of it. If I had not quenched the end of that hook when I hammered it, I would have crushed that nice little curl that I would have put in there, which I didn't want to do, but I have to hit it to get my curl around the horn. So there's the beginning of our J-hook. So that's looking pretty good. All right, we're going to quench that in. We don't want it to move anymore. And we'll work on the other end. Now what is happening is, as I add the air to the forge to heat it up, that fire is spreading symmetrically around my forge, and I really don't need any heat out here. So I'm going to keep that coal wet and put it out and just keep the coal in the middle going. Okay, what I'm doing on this end, the goal is to make this a little thicker. So what I'm doing is called upsetting it, and so I'm hammering it back in on itself. And I want to make this side a little bit bigger because I'm going to spread it out, punch a hole through it. So, got to make it a little bit thicker. The steel that I am using is just mild steel, which is just iron with a little bit of carbon added to it. Not a lot. Steel has been around for centuries. It would pop up in this area of the world, and then it would disappear, and it would pop up in this area of the world. Back when blacksmithing, colonial days, early 1800s, they would have used wrought iron, and wrought iron is just iron, no carbon added to it, so no steel. It would not have been steel. That's why you get a misconception a lot of the time. A lot of people call hand-forged work wrought iron. Wrought iron is a type of steel, not a type of metal. Is a type of metal, not a type of work. So most of the time nowadays you do use just mild steel. I actually have a piece of wrought iron with me that I'm working on. I know it doesn't look like it, but that will be a wedding ring. Definitely doesn't look like it right now. Wrought iron and mild steel have definitely different techniques of hammering. Mild steel, you can hammer it from yellow all the way down to gray. Wrought iron, you have to hammer it at orange to yellow. If you hammer wrought iron at red heat or below, it will actually, the grains of the metal will start to separate. Alright, we're about done upsetting this. We'll do it one more time, then we'll round it a little bit, flatten it, and punch a hole. Alright, I'm going to come a little closer. Hopefully you can see it hasn't enlarged it a lot, but hopefully just enough to make it a little bit easier to punch and give it a little bit more strength around the metal. Around the hole. Let's get that worded correctly. Okay, all I did there is just put a center punch, just so I can see my mark where I want to put the hole. Come on. And yes, I do drop hot metal a lot. There we go. Alright, so we have a hole through it. Problem is it's too small. So now we're just going to drift it a little bit. Come on. There we go. Now you'll notice I keep quenching my punch, and that's because I'm trying to not change the temper in it so that it will stay hard. Voila, we have what we want. One more heat and we should be just about done. I'm going to clean that up just a little bit. And once again, it's just going by color on how long I leave it in the fire. Winch that in so I don't crush my hole. We're a little crooked. There we're not. Alright. Just about finished. Now what I'm doing with the wire brush is cleaning off what is called scale. And so as you heat the metal up, that top layer of skin of the metal gets oxygen in it, oxidizes, and then that top layer of metal pops off. And so I want to get all that loose metal off. And now all I'm going to do is put a little beeswax on it. And that beeswax, because the metal is hot, will get down into the top layer of metal, make it nice and black, make it pretty, and give it just a slight amount of rust protection, not a lot. If you stick this outside, just like all metal, it's going to rust. But it gives it a nice black finish. Wipe the excess off, cool it down. Still a little warm on that side. Alright. Thank you for watching, and that's Blacksmithing at George Washington Carp.